We are just waiting for our lovely guest to come up. We have Tristan Goodes. Like, this guy isn't a joke, people. His resume is stacked. We also have another crazy creator from the team, co-hosting with us, Frederick. I've sent you an invite. I don't know if you can have a look. But we also have Cass, bestie. How you doing?
We out here is going to be a great spaces respectfully, but respectfully, I think we are going to have to respectfully stop using the word respectfully for Tristan because he does not like it respectfully.
Hey,
Okay.
yes, we can. But Tristan is nowhere to be found. So I think I will find the link and then send it to him, and hopefully we can track him down.
No, we're already good. I sent it to him. He's joining
He's
now.
Here. He's here. T Goods.
Yes. Hello.
He made it. Respectfully, he made it.
We are kind of overusing that word now, aren't we?
We did.
Tristan, what do you think?
Yeah, we got it out for him.
No comment. Tristan, welcome. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me on. Hello, everyone.
Tristan, we need to get the lowdown of your background first and foremost, and then get into the juicy bits. So let's begin with how you even got into the world of 3D through your education, and then what projects you started out doing.
Yeah, so I started 3D when I was actually 13. It was 1998, I believe. My friend, his dad owned a community college here in Vancouver, and they were looking to create a 3D program in the school. So he had a copy of 3D Studio Max on his home machine. It was like version 2 or something. This is way back in the day. Yeah, so he and I were big video game fans, and we started trying to create our own fan art. And at the time, there was no real, like, obviously YouTube wasn't a thing. There was no real tutorials online. So we kind of learned everything just by clicking buttons inside Max and seeing what they did. And eventually we got some books from a local bookstore. It was like 3D Max for Dummies or something. I can't remember which one it was. And yeah, we kind of just head down and into 3D at the age of 13. When I started grade 9, the school I was at offered an animation course, and beyond just a simple like animated title going over a mountain, there wasn't much for us to really learn there. So we kind of just went off on a tangent, and we ended up writing a curriculum for the school. So from grade 9 to 12, we kind of just designed our own education, and needless to say, we aced that course. So it's kind of funny. After that, I wanted to go to Vancouver Film School, but I didn't have the money. My parents couldn't co-sign, so we, since we were immigrants to Canada, we didn't have any credit history. So I had to work for 2 years, and I made batteries at a company here in town for laptops and stuff. So that was my foray into the manual labor enterprise of my career, but that didn't last for very long. And yeah, after 2 years of working, I was able to go to film school. So this is like 2005, I guess. 2006, I graduated. I had a job offer at a company in town called Ironclad Games, where we worked on a game called Sins of a Solar Empire. It was a game of the year for, I think, 2007, 2008. I can't remember which year it was. Yeah, that was my first job. I was the first artist they hired. I was in charge of setting up a pipeline there, setting the art style, all that stuff. So it was kind of a learn by fire, thrown into the deep end sort of situations. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments there. Anyway, after that, I kind of got burnt out, honestly, because 2 years of working, I never really worked before full time and hadn't really learned how to deal with stress at work at that point in my life. So I went back to the film school as a teaching assistant. Having worked in the industry, I had a lot more knowledge than you would normally get from a TA. So I actually worked quite closely with a lot of students, fixing their problems they were having. Kind of sat in a lot of extra classes that I normally wouldn't have learned, and I kind of got a good background as a generalist doing that. So I essentially had 6 years of education in the 1 year of working at the school. It was pretty fun. Yeah, after that, I went to a company called Nerdcore Entertainment. Worked on a TV show called League of Super Evil as a compositing artist. And then I transitioned into the modeling team on Hot Wheels Battle Force 5. I think Fred might have even been working there at the time. I'm not too sure.
That was at Rainmaker, or was it Mainframe? Because
it was Nerdcore.
Oh, Nerdcore. No, I didn't. I wasn't there. I left
Nerdcore.
Oh,
okay. Ignore me. Fred wasn't cool enough to be a Nerdcore.
I was there. I set that place up for you. You were eating my scraps.
Yeah. Anyway, from there, I went to a company called Hellblink Games. We were doing a lot of pitch work there for Warner Brothers and a whole bunch of Nintendo DS titles. None of that really led to much beyond making a good portfolio for the company. This is kind of when there was a downturn in the industry in town as well. So it's one of those cases of just getting something to tie you over. It was a good company though. Got to become pretty good friends with the owner of the company. He was one of the founders of the Counter-Strike games, so it's kind of fun. Yeah, from there I went back to Nerdcore, back on Battle Force 5, and then I started doing a lot of pitch work there. So we did all the art direction and art tests for the TV show that eventually turned into Monster High. And while I was there, I saw a job posting for a company in town called Disruptive Media Publishers. And they're a company that works on digital personalization. So if you guys had a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, you could purchase themes and avatars for your accounts. So at Disruptive, we made PlayStation themes and Xbox avatar items. So we worked pretty much with every single game studio out there, making high quality avatar items for people to purchase. That's actually where I met Levue. He is one of our surfacing artists here at Artifact. And yeah, that place was a great learning experience though, because we were very much limited to how we could produce these items. You could imagine creating a 3D character on a texture sheet that's 512 by 256, and you have to fit everything on there. So it was very low quality, very efficient texturing. So it was fun. From working at Artifact, sorry guys, from working at Disruptive for 7 years, I kind of, not to sound negative, but I started not really enjoying the work anymore, and I took a course in HVAC. So I started looking into getting out of the industry and more into a trade, just to something that could keep me paid well and also keep me employed for the rest of my life. So yeah, I ended up taking.
You might want to tell people what HVAC is in case you don't know.
HVAC is air conditioning and refrigeration, if anyone's interested. It's
How random is that? Like, I can't get over it.
Excuse me. Yeah, so the reason I chose that is my uncle was a area manager for a fairly large HVAC company here in town. So I had a pretty easy in there. So it was a good opportunity to get a fairly decent paying job right out of school. So obviously that didn't work out because I wanted to take one last chance at the industry, and I ended up quitting my job of 7 years for a 3-month contract at a company called Animal Logic. So Animal Logic, for those that don't know, they are the creators of all the Lego movies, and recently a movie called Leo that was on Netflix. Liviu ended up actually working on that as well. So yeah, shout out to Liviu. I think he's
They're
listening.
also responsible for Happy Feet.
Happy Feet too, yes. Yeah.
That won an Oscar, ironically.
Yeah, they also work on a number of. I think they work on a Marvel movie as well, but they do a lot of VFX shots for films too. So yeah, I ended up working there for 3 months on Lego Movie 2. I learned a lot about how they produce their movies, and after that 3-month contract, I had a call from an old coworker that I worked with at Nerdcore, who is now the asset supervisor at Atomic Cartoons, and they were producing Lego TV shows. So it was a fairly easy transition going from a Lego movie to a Lego TV show, and I ended up taking the leap there because my 3-month contract had ended, and ended up working there for 5 years. Me and a guy named Travis Guthrie, we ended up being kind of naughty and not really listening to anyone. We rewrote the pipeline.
You mentioned Travis is with us here too.
Yeah, he's Beardy McWeirdy in the chat right now.
Is he here?
So yeah, we had an interesting conversation with the CG Soup on that show at a certain point, telling us to slow down with the development. But we created a lot of cool tools for that show, at least, where we could essentially build Lego models right in the 3D Lego 3D packages, and then export a render-ready asset within like 2 buttons. So we sped up the process a lot there, and because of that, we were able to hit all our deadlines really easily on the Lego shows. Sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission, and that was one of those cases. Yeah, and then while I was at Atomic, I started having an inkling, to kind of move more into like studio management and show management. So I was given the chance to kind of help out, like being a CG supervisor on a TV show called Princesses Wear Pants. I think it's called Princess Power now. It's a book that was written by one of the ABC anchors. I think his name is Savannah Guthrie or something. Forgive me if I'm incorrect there, but
no, you're right. And then
yeah.
I think Drew Barrymore was involved too, right?
Yeah, she was a producer on the show. So we did a lot of firsts on that show. So it was the first time the studio had used grooms. First time we kind of used the Lego approach to producing a non-Lego TV show. So I would say it was a success, since assets and texturing were done 3 months early on that. So I was fairly happy with how that turned out. But I kind of left Atomic because I ended up having a dinner with my friend that when I was 13. Talked about him earlier. So he is now the chief product officer at Daz Taffy. So he had an idea for me to actually talk to his friends here at Artifact, and he kind of hooked me up with them. So that's how I got in contact with these guys, was through my friend. And I honestly at the time didn't know much about NFTs or the crypto world. I did some research, obviously, when I got home that night, and I told my friend, sure, let's set up the call. And then I had a chat with Chris probably within the next week to come on board as an artist. And at the time, knowing my future goals that I wanted at Atomic, I wasn't too keen on going back to just being a production artist. It's already in my plans. So I had to kindly tell Chris I was more interested in obviously what I was doing at Atomic, and Chris actually came back to me a few days later, and they offered me this design director role here at Artifact. So that's how I ended up here. A lot of this industry is about who you know and who you stay friends with. So it's about keeping your name clean and being someone that everyone wants to work with too. So it's
somehow I'm still in his good books. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I actually worked with Fred on the Lego TV shows at Atomic, so that's how I met him. I used to bug him because so Fred was one of the guys in the office that always had all the big Lego sets. So I used to go hang around his desk and play with his Lego. So
it was a problem. Fun. I had no desk space for anything. Like it was.
Tristan, I got a question because you've got a great background and a lot of knowledge from all ends of the 3D space. So what are your thoughts about like people learning days coming from an era where you basically really had to learn from like scratch?
It's actually a good question because I know I think Levue actually still teaches. So I was a modeling mentor at Vancouver Film School probably 2 or 3 years ago, and something that we really noticed is a lot of kids these days, not just kids but young adults, they get to learn 3D and they expect the tools to do the work for them. I've always been on the side of learn the hard way and then find out the easier ways to do it afterwards. So if you ever get a job and the tools that you may be familiar with to make your life easier may not be available if you're on your first job. So if you don't know how to do it the hard way, you're going to be kind of a sitting duck. So my best advice is to learn your craft properly and don't take shortcuts.
Tristan, sorry. I was going to ask, what do you look for in a project? Like, what are your standards? What are the red flags that you stay away from the teams?
When you say projects, what do you mean? Sorry. Like
for any project that you take on, like any of the movies that you've worked on, TV series, games?
To be honest, it's more about the team you work with. I don't want to name any studios, but I have worked at some places where the organization isn't there and the deadlines are unrealistic. You don't want to be killing yourself to hit deadlines. It's not healthy. It can cause a lot of issues with your relationships, your health, and your family. So it's not worth taking on those kind of jobs. So I don't want to name any specific places, but there are a few places that are quite infamous for that. So yeah.
Oh, we gotta reference one of the prep calls then, because Tristan was telling us to take it easy on the VFX artists or any animations that you see in professional movies, because sometimes you don't know the deadlines and you might be judging harshly.
Yeah, as Cass mentioned, deadlines. TV shows, you're looking at like a 2-week turnaround for a 20-minute episode. So a lot of times that includes creating sets, any new characters that are there, any new props, vehicles, that kind of thing. So your teams are generally around 8 people for modeling, and then you'll have a servicing team around 12 people. You'll have like 2 rigging artists or 3 rigging artists. So, and then you'll, Fred, how big are your general animation teams?
Well, animation's always the biggest, and we're always the loudest and most annoying. So, like on Lego, when we were on Jurassic Park doing the series, we had, how many did we have? 27 animators, I think.
Yeah.
So and then on Star Wars, we actually had 2 teams of, is it 8? I think so. Like, I think we had 16, but then we ballooned up to 20 because we were able to squeeze out a few more people.
Yeah. So to go back to that, generally when you start a new TV show, you'll have like a ramp up time where you create the main cast of characters. So that usually will be around 6 months. So it'll be like main sets, main costs, main vehicles, like your hero assets, and then when it gets into the episodic work, that's when you have your usually it's like 1 or 2 sets for that episode, and then maybe a few hero assets and maybe like 2 characters. That's kind of what we limited the production to. Because if you don't limit the writers and the production stuff, you end up getting in trouble. So yeah.
I would say it's always cool being the guy to come up with the ideas, but then having to be the guy who actually puts it all together, like the 3D artist. Sometimes I feel like y'all are getting the short end of the stick. But do you have any like shows that you worked on you can give us some little stories about? Maybe you had like a really crazy deadline on something. It would be really cool to hear.
Can't think of anything off the bat, to be honest. I kind of stopped really stressing too much a few years back, so I became a lot better at managing my time. So when it comes to like stresses, it's not too much. I mean, the biggest and craziest thing that's probably ever happened to us as a whole was COVID. So the big move to working from home was a big shock to a lot of people, and some people like it, some people don't. So it really depends on the person at that point if they like being around people or not.
Yeah, how are you guys dealing with that? Because you said you have about, in our team, we have 5 people that are in Vancouver right now. So you are kind of surrounded. But how has that changed for you working from home?
Yeah, so the obviously in 2020 was when we started working from home. It was the end of 2019 when COVID started becoming an issue. So I remember kind of sending a little email to the HR company at Atomic at the time, and just like, hey, we should probably keep an eye out on this just to see what's going on. Luckily, they pivoted pretty quick. But it's actually been a blessing in a sense, because we got used to working from home before I actually came into this company, which is all obviously a remote working setup. So in that time, a lot of us updated our home workspaces to be more comfortable, obviously more healthy to work. Like obviously, I have a stand-up desk at home. I have a comfortable chair, so I don't have any back issues. Like my entire home office is set up well to work effectively here. And that was before I even started here. So that's probably a huge benefit we had from COVID coming into Artifact. And how are we dealing with it? I think a lot of us, because we already worked from home, it was a very easy transition. It was basically just changing a login information on the home machine to something else. So transition was actually very smooth. And the guys here in Vancouver, it's all people I've worked with in the past. So without going into specifics, we have our rigging artists. We have 2 surfacing artists, our modeling lead and Fred are all here in Vancouver. And then we have some other people we can reach out to if we ever need a little bit of extra help. But yeah,
we're also lucky. The industry, CG industry, like Vancouver is the hub in the world for artists. Like this is where they all come, more or less. Yeah, there's a lot of artists here. So getting a job here at Artifact is also like you gotta know the right people, and luckily some of us do.
Yeah, I mean, the COVID thing also, what that allowed me to do is I was able to moonlight on a few other TV shows and movies. So while I was at Atomic, I actually worked for Stellar Creator Labs. I worked on their What If TV show, and also worked for a company in Montreal called Cinesight. We did some work on was it Space Jam? There was a movie called Hit Pig that's coming out this year. Paws of Fury, which came out like a year and a half ago. And there's another TV show coming out called Awaju. So I was pulling 80-hour work weeks when I was in the middle of COVID because I had nothing else to do. So I got bored and fat and ate too much and worked too much. that's my COVID experience.
Hey, skills are going up though.
Yeah, it was fun though. I learned a lot, and it was nice too because at Atomic I was doing more show management. It was very much almost numbers game, whereas the work I did on the movies for the side work was all creative. So I had a bit of left brain, right brain going on every day. So it kept me going.
I think this is a good time to invite people up. If you have any questions for Tristan, if you've looked on his LinkedIn and on his IMDb, then surely you've got some questions to ask. Like, I have a question about Lego. I hear that there are some secrets or secret rules on what you should or should not be doing when animating the Lego figures. Can you spill any of that beans?
Well, depends what studio you're talking about. So our general rule when I was working at Animal Logic was any frame that you see in the film, you should be able to freeze it and be able to build it. It even went down to in the animations, if there was like a motion blur effect, it was actually made in Lego. If you guys want to ever watch the Lego Batman show, some of the like pans you do and you like moves his arm really quick, it actually they change his arm out for Lego, and it's all like stop motion effects. There's no motion blur in that show, so it's kind of interesting how they did that. With the Lego TV shows, we had different rules, so we were able to bend bricks there. We could use non-Lego items, so it depends on what you're building for.
That's really cool. I think that kind of covers it up. We have Hoshi up on stage. Hello, welcome.
Hey guys. How you doing? Excited
Hi.
to be here. Good. I'm just curious, are you guys going to be bringing any of the USD pipeline from, or just any USD pipeline over to Artifacts pipeline? And be working in the universal scene description at all?
We are working on it right now, actually, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Exciting. That's good. That's pretty much all
Wait,
I
for
wanted
people
to know.
who don't have a clue what's going on, can you
Yes.
explain like I'm five?
Tika, do you want to?
Or? You can go ahead.
Okay.
I got a cough here.
Basically, true. So the Universal Scene Description was created by Pixar. Basically, it's just an open source framework for getting us to be on open standards for 3 file formats. So instead of everything being fractured and not working together, we're going to be finally working all on the same sort of file format moving forward. Opens everything up for quote unquote the metaverse.
Yeah.
Finally works.
Yeah, and we are running into some issues with USD, so we are trying to work through that. So we're trying to accommodate everything at this point, but yeah, it is definitely in our workflow at this point. So perfect. Something we want to build up on in the future.
Ooh,
I love that Hashi just came up with the most specific pipeline question I've heard yet.
I mean,
Tristan, that was
we're still very early in the exploration of it, to be honest, but we are exporting everything out with USD with the intention of exploring it properly down the road. So, yeah.
Right, I was hoping somebody from the audience would come up and ask this question so that maybe they can push it a little bit further, but I guess I'll go. What can you tell us about Animus?
What can I tell you? I can't really go into too many specifics besides what's kind of available. I can kind of tell you how we work internally. So every single Animus item or character has a list of items. It's very much the same way that CloneX has been built. So you'll have your base character, which would be the Animus animal. If it's CloneX, you'd think of the CloneX body. And then elements get attached to it. So you'll have your horns, wings, tails, all that stuff. And each of those elements currently live as a separate item on our server. We rig each item individually, and we have a batch system that will basically take those items in with different textures. We'll combine them into a single rig and can shoot out a character. So we call it an assembly system. We're currently working on it with Harlan to a similar system to get it into Unreal with the inventory for clones, but obviously that's it's a lot of work and redoing assets in the long run. So, but yeah, people say we've been slow on animus, but there's been a lot of building, and we try to do it right the first time without having to redo anything. So yeah, everything's getting done properly from the get-go. Hopefully 3D files will be ready very soon after release, but it really depends on some factors. So, but we'll get everything out as soon as possible.
Hey, well, look, this is super dope to hear, and I'm not gonna hit fair. Fairy came with a hard hitting, open ended. What do you think about Animus? But now I gotta ask in a more fun way. You know, so far after
What do
seeing
you mean?
all of
I'm
these
fun.
characters. Oh, okay, it's cool. We all fun. I'm just saying. I just wanted to see what Tristan thought. You know, you've worked on a lot of IP from like very popular brands. Like, what do you think about seeing these characters and how they all look compared?
I mean, I'm in there every day, so to me, it might be a bit of a different reaction to seeing renders because I'm always looking for the errors. Right now, we're heavily involved in QCing, so I'm making sure that the renders look good, that there's no errors, and like normal maps, textures look good. They're not getting blown out in renders. Like, there's so much going on right now, and it's a bit overwhelming in a sense because obviously you guys found out today there's going to be 20,000 total cap. So that's a lot of assets to look through, and it's a lot of rigs to generate. So something I forgot to mention earlier with the rigging. The reason why we did it this way is say your Animus has a set of wings on it. We wanted you guys the ability to be able to animate those wings. So it's not going to be like a standard clone body coming in with wings that can't animate. So everything you get will be animatable, but to a point. So yeah.
Ooh, I hope Prez is here. He's going to be taking snippets from this, and it will be online within seconds. That was some good alpha, I have to say. I'm very, very excited for Animus. Like, really excited. We have Yobs up on stage. Hello. Welcome for the first time.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Really cool to hear about your story and your journey so far. But one thing that was quite interesting was like hearing that you've worked with loads of big studios, movies, games, and all of the sorts. And then talking about how COVID moved things more on like work from home or like work almost on your own. Sort of like status, like what are the sort of challenges you face now? Because obviously before you're in a big team, everyone's together, you're working together, but now you're probably more than likely working alone. What's the shift like, and does it make things more difficult? Is it easier? If you could share a bit on that.
So in my experience, it really comes down to your personality type. I know a lot of like modelers and texture artists are like more of your introverts, so they generally are okay with the quietness and working in isolation. You'll get more of your animators like Fred that are very outgoing. They like being around people.
Loud.
What?
Very loud.
No, but I find animators are more social, and I think a lot of animators have had trouble during COVID in terms of
everyone was depressed because no one could talk to each other physically.
Yeah. So some of the things that we do, I know at Artifact here is we have open channels for chats. We have multiple Slack channels going. We share content that way. We try have as much FaceTime as possible. Like every Tuesday, Thursday, we do our rounds with the whole team. It is kind of difficult because we are kind of global. So sometimes it's really late for some other people and really early for others. So we try to keep the social aspect there, but obviously work has to get done too. The biggest struggles we ran into was on-ramping new people when I was at Atomic. The need to hire juniors as well as seniors is there, so you're having to get people right out of school, trying to train them on systems when you're not actually physically in front of each other. Well, that was tough. So that said, our biggest focus when COVID started was to document as much of the process as possible into proper processes and procedures. And it actually helped us in the long run because things became very ironed out and clean. And that's something I try to bring here at Artifact. But the amount of stuff we're producing, it's sometimes hard to really get time to do that. It is a long-term plan of mine to do more training within the team and like bring in outside trainers and educators as well to teach people things. So yeah, long-term plans. Hope that helps answer your question.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, it does, because obviously, like in your field of work, iteration is a big thing. So, just I'm assuming it can possibly make that process a little bit harder, just iterating things over and over again through, the internet rather than in person.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to sharing like work with each other, we use a software called Shockgrid. It's by Autodesk. So everything we work through and save is managed through there. So when it comes to sharing files, it's actually not that difficult. Giving feedback's pretty straightforward as well, since Shockgrid is designed for that. But it's more the training aspect and the day-to-day social life that's been the hard part.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for the insights.
Yeah, no problem.
See, people, cut them some slack. You just want content. You just want all the goodies, but you're not willing to wait for it. So at least make sure you say your thank yous. Gosh.
Thank you.
No, I mean,
Johnny, hello.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was gonna say we actually are working very hard to make everyone as happy as possible. So like it is my goal to produce as best quality content as we can within the time we have. So yeah, there's a lot of effort and a lot of work going into these items. So yeah, we do appreciate everyone.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Tristan, what's the favorite thing that you've worked on since you've been at Artifact?
Honestly, it was a season 1 apparel. It's always fun to work on a project and have the physical items in your hand down the road. When we work on TV shows as well, you get the toys done at some point, and Lego was obviously one of those. You get to work on something, and then you have a tangible object in your hand down the road. Yeah, season 1 was fun. It was a good experience.
Oh, that's so cute. So what was your favorite item from season 1?
The stuff I couldn't afford. I wanted to get the jacket, but the Murakami jacket, but yeah. Unfortunately.
You said Murakami. I think Cass was waiting for you to say undead. Wait, no. You're on Murakami gang, aren't you, Cass?
Of course. And we need to get that sorted. Somebody's
the undead jacket was
I think
pretty
some
sick
Artifact
too.
people in here. We got to get this sorted.
Yeah. No, the undead jacket was cool too, but yeah, that jacket was something else. It was cool. I remember when you were working on it, and I was like, "Damn, this thing's cool." But yeah, I think we all had our eyes on that.
We got another. Dang, I was gonna say we do have another Murakami jacket holder, Johnny. Johnny, what's going on? What do you don't give him the FOMO about the jacket though. I'm trying to like distract him. Hey, that's.
Well, first off, shout out to Murakami Jacket Gang. You know, got to do it. But yeah. Tristan, you already know how I feel about you, my guy.
Yeah.
Been very fortunate to be able to have conversations with you outside of, Twitter and everything like that. And I understand all the work that you're putting in and the foundation layers that you're building for all of us, which is very, very much appreciated, you and the team. But yeah, just when the creator spaces come on, got to come up and shout you guys out. I also did have a selfish question. I know we talked about it a couple of months ago, but this is just referring to the Dunk 3D files as far as the module pieces. Yeah. Don't know if and when those will be released to the clones, but just figured I'd ask while I'm up here.
I actually got the final files yesterday, so I'll be working with the team to get that stuff cleaned up. So I can't give you an exact date, but they're definitely on our radar for coming out soon.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Problem.
What's going on? It's the day after.
It's the day after.
Let's go! Yes, for once I was early. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's dope to be in the space and listening to Tristan talk and hear his journey, which is crazy. First question is, do you still do HVAC, even just for fun?
No, that was more of a if I'm not going to do this anymore, what career can I do that can be long term and like provide for me for my future? To be honest, like my Hail Mary was leaving that job for a 3-month contract. It was a huge risk, but obviously it worked out. So I've actually had a few people that do other things, other careers, and they've always asked me like, "Hey, what should I do?" I always say, stick to what you know, give it a chance, and if you have to leave the job you're at to try something else. But yeah, passion can get you further than anything else. So.
Indeed, you gotta take, chances and sometimes play safe, right? And just get a reset and start over.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I was lucky enough that I could take that risk because I was single and don't have a family, so I could take a higher risk and give up a 7-year job. But yeah, I can understand why some other people couldn't. But yeah.
Throughout your journey, right? What would you say has been like one of the most crucial foundation or like tricks that you learned that has helped you out, and whether it be an animation or just even like thinking about how to approach certain concepts?
Probably troubleshooting scenes. As I said, I was a TA for a while, and the biggest issue we used to run into was working with other people's files and they weren't clean. Clean file can make troubleshooting a lot easier. So working cleanly, working non-destructively. Understanding the fundamentals in a sense of how to build things properly. Getting out of a sense of every single part of the pipeline, so you can, when you making decisions and how you create something, you can kind of see how it's going to flow down to the next person. So, as an example, if you're going to model something, you need to understand how it's going to move and how it's going to be animated, so that you can model it accurately and so that it can actually do what it's meant to do. So to do that, you've got to read your scripts. You got to look at the designs. Sometimes you got to adjust the designs to actually do what you need. I mean, Fred can assess. He's probably got lots of models at some point in his career where they don't actually work to what was needed in the script. So
yeah, or they didn't make it at all, and then we're trying to, Frankenstein something together.
Yeah. So when you're creating assets, just generally making sure that you're building to the need and the purpose of what's the end goal in a sense. So sometimes it means making an entirely new character that's going to have a bendy arm for one shot, and then you get that out, and they use that character in the one shot and then never use it again. So there's a lot of cheating that happens in 3D. It's not like the games industry where you kind of have to have a model that does everything, but you kind of get away with more because there's a level of acceptance that's acceptable for games in terms of crashing. But yeah.
So jumping on that, right? Harlan has mentioned that you guys are working on, a cinematic rig, but that's in Unreal. Are we gonna see something similar to that for like Blender or any other software packages?
That's currently what we're working on, yes. So the entire vision, I mean, I can't, this isn't saying anything about how the current app is working, but when we initially set out to create inventory and our rigs for this, the initial goal was we need to provide a file to people that can do anything they need. So if you want to create a VRM, we're going to provide a file that can do that. If you want to create a GLB, you'll have a GLB that does what you need. If you need to work in Blender, you'll have a Blender file. If you need to work in Maya, you'll have a Maya file. If you want to work in Unreal, there'll be an Unreal file. I mean, this is stuff we're still developing. It's not obviously final. It's not a list of what's going to be in the inventory at this point, but it's just this is our set of goals we set out to have, but it's stuff we're working towards.
Ambitious. And then lastly, right? What's your take and vision on the future, especially since like Apple just dropped the Vision Pros today? How do you foresee, this project taking advantage of those type of tools and capabilities?
I mean, we're always open to trying new things. Everything we're building should be able to be tested in those systems. We are keeping an eye on that stuff, and my biggest worry about a lot of that tech is the barrier to entry, so it's cost prohibitive for a lot of people. I personally can see the Meta Quest 3 probably doing a little bit better because of a price entry. However, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Apple's a huge brand; they know what they're doing too, so they're going to have a really nice polished product. I personally haven't used it yet, but yeah, future will tell, I guess. But we are open to testing things eventually in whatever platform. So as far as vision, yeah, I'm not sure at this point.
Well, Tristan, do we want to? I think Fred would have some also saucy ideas or things to throw in about this as well. But you guys have done a lot of videos with VFX and also kind of some of the, like we saw with the evolution video, there's a lot of that kind of XR vibe. What are your thoughts on like designing for those kind of sequences or scenes?
Good question.
The XR vibe? Sorry, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Like the point of view kind of where it's got like the Apple Vision Pro almost kind of experience feel.
Yeah, I haven't seen the video. Sorry.
Well, it's
I'm just gonna have to. I'll tag it and we'll get into it. But
it's definitely challenging though. Like from an animation perspective, there's a lot of like challenges with depth and trying to, especially if you're creating media, you kind of have to work with it. It's kind of like also visual effects where you're given a plate and you work within that plate, but then with AR technology, your plate's kind of like live and organic, and so things you create need to interact on the fly. It's early technology. I think it's going to be the future personally, but yeah, we shall see. Yeah. It's an exciting time, that's for sure.
Yeah, I actually bought 2 Meta Quests. I have them here at my house. My wife and I use them to be kind of have some fun there. The cool things I found was there's a game called First Encounter that kind of blew my mind. The AR integration of that just changed my perspective of what's happening with VR. So I kind of agree with Fred there. I think there's a lot to happen with the AR space, even just in terms of potentially workspaces, because you could potentially replace your computer monitors down the road with just a VR headset, and I think that'd be pretty sick. So
that I'm looking forward to personally, because I have 2 monitors, and just the idea of having like 3 or 4 like specific to like, oh, here's your camera, here's my graph, here's the render view, here's my YouTube distraction, and here's the listening to Bad Take. I'm always hanging out there in the background listening, so yeah, it's I can't wait to have it. I want to order the Vision, but we can't because we're in Canada and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we will be able to do these space calls in a virtual chat with everyone sitting in our actual avatars. So that'd be a cool, fun thing to do.
Let's give it to Day After.
Yeah, so that'll be super dope. But I'm gonna derail the conversation back to like animation, right? Well, one of the main tools for animation is to tell stories, and you guys are here to tell stories. So what when can we expect to learn more about the lore? Like what happened after Harlan found the signal? Like we need more closure. We want to know what's going on in these worlds. So yeah, I'm just curious to see what's being planned in terms of like storytelling, lore building,
Harlan
etc.
is here. Maybe he wants to take this question. I don't want to throw you under the bus.
Throwing Harlan under the bus, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I love telling story personally. It's just, yeah, there's lots on our plate.
Yeah, I personally don't have an answer for that. But yeah, I don't know if Harlan does. I don't know if he's going to even hop in here. But yeah, I'm assuming the answer is we don't know at this point when that's going to happen. But I would answer if I could.
Respectfully, no comment. I've invited Harlan up. I don't know if he's got any questions for Tristan. Maybe you don't necessarily. Oh, is he here?
What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Just here listening to y'all. Fred got to throw me.
Yeah, sorry I threw you under the bus there and dragged you up here.
No, I mean honestly, like lore and storytelling is really important to us as a whole, and in everything that we do, it like unites us, it ties everything together, and it's definitely something that we're gonna be working through the past year. Like our main focus was actually delivering on all of the core past promises that we've set up to date. Make sure everything is whole and think holistically through our entire system, ecosystem, and everything that we do, and tying everything together. So lore is always going to be part of it, and you're definitely going to see more in the future.
What Harlan?
Was that good enough answer?
It passes. It passes.
Yeah. What Harlan said. That's my answer.
Tristan, can we talk about your hobbies? What do you do outside of your little cave of creation?
I mean, as I said, COVID got me fat. So the last few years, I've been trying to lose weight. So I do some boot camp.
Hey, I take offense to that. It requires a lot of effort to add on those pounds, just so you know.
Not for me. Unfortunately, I'm one of those unlucky few that just looks at food and gains weight. But
same.
Yeah, I've been going to some boot camp classes here now. I go with my wife, and we do that 3 or 4 times a week now. Trying to get back into shape, and then just do the odd walk in the woods and stuff. To be honest, I used to do a lot more art for myself, but now that I have a wife to be responsible to my time, I kind of just try to do stuff with her as much as I can, and we'll cook together and just do things together. So,
FYI, he was just married.
Yeah, I got married on New Year's Eve, so yeah, it was fun.
Let's go!
Hey, congratulations!
We got free fireworks and everything. It was awesome.
Man.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, another question. What's the biggest Lego set that you completed? Same with Frederick.
I own the Millennium Falcon, but I've never built it, unfortunately. I just don't have time. Fred's beat me there so many times, I'm sure.
Well, no, what's funny is I have that same problem too, where it's I have the Falcon sitting in a box.
Yeah.
Guys, I have the Falcon sitting in a box as well. What the hell?
Terrible.
Collectible.
But I mean, to be honest, I used to love playing with Technic as a kid, so I built most of my Technic sets, and the Technic cars are my favorites. So I'll probably say the Porsche, the orange Porsche that came out a few years back.
The GT3
yeah.
RS.
Yeah. That's sick.
You guys should do a live stream and build them all together.
I'm going to be doing, I think, a stop motion sort of fun time lapse build soon. I've been wanting to, but Tristan's been making me work super hard these days. So once he lets up the whip, I'll be definitely building some more Lego for you guys.
Yeah. Well, Fred, it's for Animus, so I don't think you're gonna have any sympathy here.
I know
So.
I don't want to talk about anything Animus because I'm afraid I'll.
Yeah.
But for big sets that I've built, the biggest one is the UCS AT-AT. It is so big that it towered over our dog. It was shocking how big it was, and yeah. The problem with those big sets is there's no space to put them. Right now, behind me, oh yeah, you can't see. There's no camera. I have the UCS X-wing right now. That's the last build. That was fun.
Yeah, one thing that you can know, like when talking to Fred, he is very animated when he speaks. He's literally an animator, like for models and himself. Like he's awesome.
It's terrible. If you look at my I should just take a picture of how messy my place is, but or my office. But it's I know where everything is. I always call it like creative chaos because there's Lego on the ground, there's sneakers in boxes, there's Supreme gadgets, accessories that are completely useless, but I love them. You know, so what else do I have? Oh yeah, it's just really weird stuff. But yeah.
I love you guys. You're hilarious.
Did you get the Supreme hammer?
I don't have. I have one hammer. It's a camping hammer.
Oh, okay.
Don't you have that axe one? Or something?
There's a big
Is
one.
it
There's a
the
big
ice
fully like proper like hammer I think came out like in 2013, 2014 or something. So I don't know why I know this, but yeah. It's another problem. If anyone wants to talk about streetwear or street style and all that stuff, I'm down to it.
Well, sound like Mark.
Oh yeah, into that.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
been to
I used
Japan.
sit in class and he would just.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, Mark, the animator. Just like I used to sit in class and he would just like honestly just look at the Supreme website and ask us what he should buy.
Oh wow, really?
During class. It was hilarious. It was so funny.
Supreme's kind of like they're not quite as shiny as they used to be, you know. But
oh yeah, they fell off a little.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's what happens. You know, big company buys them out, and then anyway, sorry, we're deviating.
Oh, 100%. Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I'll bring us back with the last question because I know it's about to be, well, it's pretty much one Pacific. When it comes to animating, right? Like, there's a bunch of dope ass new tools and AI and all of this. Have you guys messed around with those workflows? And if so, like, what do you see it being as a benefit, or if it's more of a crutch? Because I have me and some of my other homies, we worked around with Move AI to capture movement. We have also used Rococo to convert videos into the animation stuff, and then there's Cascador, which does the AI interpolation. So yeah, what's your take on these sort of like AI tools and the animation workflow?
This kind of goes into the whole philosophy behind what we wanted to do with the inventory and everything. So you guys remember the Tokyo event we did last year when we had the it was at a hologram display with the clone on it and had Murakami in front of it with the thing mimicking him. So
that's funny because I was just looking at that because I was going through your page, so I just put it.
So that was built on the new rig we developed, and it's running through Rococo. So we actually had someone in the back sitting with Harlan, and they were actually watching through a camera what was happening in front of the screen, and then they were able to react on the fly through Unreal on that display. So that's how that was done. So yeah, we are looking at Rococo already. Any other programs will just be something we'd have to add support for down the road.
In terms of other people using it, though, like I think they're all great tools to help people get their final look. But nothing beats old-fashioned, hard, key framework or like research, reference, physically going out there yourself and doing stuff. But I know not everyone's capable of doing that. So
yeah, it's about giving the end user the tools they need. So like even in films, like you'll have your mocap studios or get all this mocap data, but that stuff always goes back to the animator that cleans it up. There's no, at this point, there's no real like one-click solution to getting clean animation, and I don't think you'd ever really want to, because you kind of lose that human touch, that what makes it feel like it's alive when it comes down to the end result.
I don't know if there's just touching on. I don't know if anyone watched that the robots that show something robot. I think you know what I'm talking.
Love, Death
There
and
it is.
Robots.
Yes, and there was like a there's like a it was like a big battle with this like woman really contorting herself and in the water and causing people to come to her, and then they would drown. I don't know if you all know that episode.
The fight
scene?
The
fight. Yeah, so that was all done keyframe. Typically, you would do that all mocap because of how complicated it is. But by having animators look at the reference and then doing it by hand, it there's a different feel that you're getting from it. That's both artistic and it'll still look realistic, but there is just something a little bit more. It's one of those things that you can't really put your finger on it, but you definitely feel it.
Can I throw like an offhand question out that's just not related?
Of course.
Do you have anyone from the company on the website here? Have you guys ever played with Reactive Fiber or 3.js?
No.
Yes.
There you go.
Who said yes? Jarlin? Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, yeah. I'm just curious if the team is like familiar with that at all. Okay, cool. Awesome. I'm just curious if you guys are interested in working like spatial
why?
web
Why
at
are you
all.
asking?
I mean, just building spatial web experiences. So basically, websites that, I mean, I see Reactive Fiber as like basically retention of attention on the web. I just remember when I first came across some of those websites, they had me on there for like 30 minutes before I even asked what the website did. So I just see them as really, really a useful tool for like a web presence in the future, and then also creating spatial websites that can then be for the Vision Pro. So, because like what's it called, the Reactive Fiber and 3.js is building out VR and AR integrations as well. So you can really just integrate your website into all spatial spaces. So it'll be like mini games. So there's this project called SuGen that is trying to do an NFT spaces and experiences all on 3.js. That would be an example. But I was just curious if you guys had looked into that. They're like mini games on like the web.
No, we've actually used it for some of our websites, through like the Exodus website and quite a few of the
I
other
did
ones
notice that actually.
Yeah, so we have on the team.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
Hoshi is indirectly asking for alpha. I see what you're doing.
He's asking the good questions. Like, I see you.
We see. We've just hit the 1 hour mark. Tristan, are you good to go for another 10 minutes?
Yeah, I can do another 10 minutes. I do have another call we run into, but yeah, I can do 10 minutes.
Oh, yikes.
No,
okay,
it's fine.
Well,
it's fine. 10 minutes is good.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask a really, really basic question. What is your favorite thing about your job?
The people, to be honest. I mean, you get to come on every day and hang out with people you enjoy and talk to people that think the same, and it's already an echo chamber in that sense, but we all get along, right? So it's kind of like hanging out with your friends and getting to work at the same time, in a sense. So yeah, I'd say the people.
That's nice. Fred, you're still in his good books.
Yeah, let's see how long that'll last. Actually, I got a question for you, Tristan. What's your career highlight?
Career highlight, obviously this chat right now. Getting interviewed on Twitter.
Nice.
I don't know if there's a soundboard there.
This is better than
not working on the Animus egg. Come on, man.
Yeah. I've had some really late nights working on some of the stuff, so those aren't really that fun.
Yeah, that started to
Did your
turn
hands
into a
hurt?
trigger.
Yeah, I actually Animus. I was on a work trip with Chris at the time, and we were Clegg Effects for those that don't know him. Yeah, him and I were working pretty much all hours to get that thing out because we were just critiquing the hell out of it. So yeah, that was not that fun.
Last but not least, I think we should throw it to Dre Millie. Hey, how you doing?
What's good, fam? What's good? What's good? What's good? I've been kind of lagging, listening to the space, so I don't know if I'm coming in bad or not, but it don't matter because I'm coming in anyway. Let me ask you a question, bro. I heard the story. I came in kind of late, but I wanted to ask you guys, Tristan and Frederick and Harlan, with the drop that's coming out with the Apple Vision Pro that was released today, with the skill sets that all three of you guys hold. Have you looked to integrate anything over to utilize with that device? Like I know Day After asked about the possibility of Animus, so I'm not gonna go there, even though I want to go there some more. But have you guys thought about anything to integrate over to that, or possibly Animus or clones or anything like that? If you want to answer that, if you want to go there, if you want to go there.
Nothing at this point. We've had discussions around potentially making something, but nothing solid. And to be honest, we haven't even got the SDK yet. So we would like to, but that's nothing in the plans at this point. At least that I'm aware of. So I don't know if Harlan has more info on that I haven't heard of, but yeah.
No, I think what you mentioned is right. I mean, the good thing is that the way that we develop our assets and the way we produce all of our stuff, it's already compatible essentially. So yeah, I'll leave that at that.
Yeah.
I personally can't wait to animate something in that space. So I'm definitely gonna try and push some buttons. Let's get something going.
And then I just want to hype you guys up because, like, you guys put so much hard work into delivering all the assets. Like, the fact that I can download my clone files and take it to Unreal, Unity, Blender, Maya, Cinema 4D is crazy. Like, projects to this day don't even have, 3D files, let alone do it for 5 different tool sets. And then with that being said, like, you could quickly take it into Blender, get the GOB, and then, turn it into VRM and use it within Unity or even Nifty. Well, Nifty, they had to do it themselves, but like the fact that you can do that off rip and start playing with the characters is dope. So,
and thank you for voluntarily redoing them all for us to upgrade them. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. The redoing aspect is
100%.
being a huge undertaking, and Harlan spearheading that. So I appreciate Harlan for doing that as well. My first day on the job here, I actually looked at the clones, and I made like a 5-6 page document about all the issues I saw with the rig and the models. So that was my first week here at Artifact. So it's been like a year and a half of planning to get where we are now. So it's just nice to actually have time to really
I
do
would have
this.
done the same.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Tristan for taking our clones to Dr. Miami shop and getting it right and getting it tight. You know what I mean? We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's not me, man. It's the team. So
Yo, it's over 750 unique traits if y'all want to know. Like each with their own models, each with their own rigs. It's like a massive undertaking. But we're here for it.
Whoa, when you break it down and give numbers to it, it's nuts.
And then we're doing that at the same time as Animus. So yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
there's only 20,000 though. You're good. So
yeah, I remember Jonah came up to the space on Bad Take one time, and he was talking about like it's hard to even get one decent rig, but for the fact to have 20,000 quote unquote unique rigs is insane. So,
we are lucky and fortunate to have a guy named Mark English on the team, and he came from Atomic as well, and he has experience working at some pretty high-end feature phone companies. So with his rigging and coding knowledge, we've been able to actually do this in an effective way. So yeah. Shout out to Mark as well.
Nice. Do you guys not?
Yeah,
Do you guys not have a standardized rig?
Yeah, shout out to the whole team, man. Everyone's absolutely amazing. We have Kevin up on stage, who hasn't connected yet. Okay, so he always has issues. He always bringing us issues.
No, I think that's
maybe-
that's the thing that I've appreciated is the fact that you guys haven't had to say anything about redoing and re-rigging every single one of our assets from the beginning, right? It's like this is something that it's just taken advantage of in a way where it's like, or granted in a way. So, I mean, knowing that you guys have been working on it and the entire team has been working on it to make sure that we have like the best. I mean, you've given us the tools to be able to learn up until this point, but knowing that you're giving us like these movie quality upgrades is like, again, just very, very much appreciated, especially as a creator in the space. So thank you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually something we listen and we see like everything that's going on. We see like problem areas, issues that people have had with rigs, workflows that are very extended, and our goal is to pretty much minimize and compress workflows as much as possible, give like high quality files for, wide array of like use cases to pretty much support our, the insanely talented community that we have, and all the creators. So yeah, no, we hear
yeah.
you guys.
There's also some knowledge you guys need to know is we're equally, if not more, critical of the work than you guys are. So we push it further than you probably would expect. So yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you look at the actual team that you guys have assembled, like when you look at your histories and everything like that, the quality of the work that you guys put in, it's like you almost have to just trust the process and know like the team you guys have built is like a MVP kind of team. And so it's like, again, I just have like all confidence and trust in you guys to just do what you guys do. And whenever anything comes, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to get these rigs and see what y'all can do with them. But yeah, we've put like a lot of us have like 20 plus years of experience, so like we've failed many times before, so we also know what to look for and to avoid, so that way you guys don't have to deal with those headaches.
Yeah, and then with that being said, right, I would like to offer a suggestion. Maybe we, consider exploring the idea of like just giving a breakdown into like, some of the big people that we have in the team working on stuff. Because like the resume between you guys here, like Harlan, Fred, and TG, like it's insane. So like doing some little bit of highlights into the core team members that are working on this stuff, like people will start to put some respect on it. Like the other, like Asuki, they just said, "Oh my God, they're working with this company who produced this one show." But like, yeah, we have people here who worked on various movies and got Grammys, not Grammys, and whatever the awards
Number.
are.
Emmy.
Yeah.
Mr. Fred.
Emmys, yeah. So
Someone's going to
we
the
got a
Grammys?
rock team. So let's highlight us.
Yes, that's why we're doing these spaces, guys. There's quite a few other people on the list, so
We're gonna
let's stay for another year at
we'll
least.
try to get LeVue on pretty soon. So
100%.
he's just messaged me on the side here. So hopefully he'll come on. But yeah, LeVue is probably the most passionate shading artist you'll ever meet in your life. He lives and breathes shaders. It's kind of it's fascinating to watch him work because he's almost scientific to a point.
Love
It's
that.
kind of funny when he works. Yeah.
It's also like one of the nicest guys you'll probably ever
Yeah.
meet.
He's probably blushing right now.
He probably really is blushing. Oh, he's also a big watch guy. So if you're into watch,
Yeah, we need all these. I haven't been able to hear Fred, so I'm kind of rugging him.
no, it's all good.
Yeah, so LeVue actually has a Instagram channel where he paints Gundams for his hobby. So you guys should check it out sometime.
No way.
Yeah. And they're super sick. He's currently working on a Metal Gear Rex, and it's looking dope.
Yeah.
Yo, this team is so cool. I just want to say thank you so much to all the speakers, everyone listening in. Fred, thank you so much for co-hosting with us. Tristan, man, so much love for you, so much respect for you and what you've been doing and all of your achievements. Thank you for giving us your time, seriously. I know you're so super busy. But can you leave us with some words of wisdom, maybe something to motivate our listeners?
I don't know how many of you are getting into this as a career job or opportunity, or just looking at it as a hobby. But the biggest thing I ever learned was how to not only be able to receive critique well, but also give it. So I personally, when I give critique, I take it upon myself to make sure that it's understood, and it's also in the delivery and how well it's taken. So biggest advice is, if you're getting into this, is be humble, understand that you may not know everything, and there's always probably someone out there that's better than you. So you can always have someone out there to learn from. So that's what I would say.
Beautiful. Should we send it, Cass?
Send it.
Send it. Wait, you guys forgot to say bye.
See ya. Thanks, everyone. It was nice to meet you all.
Adios.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you guys.
Bye.
Bye.